some of the important issues, like some of the frameworks or some of the applications which has been shared. Say taking Python as an application program, and then learning TensorFlow or the Keras models or some other frameworks, right? And targeting one specific application definitely would you people can evolve and definitely will reach some or meet some industrial requirements or standards, so that you can be absorbed by any industry in this situation. Okay, so make sure you become good, or you try to perform more and more activities on one of those issues which has been shared as an shared in your WhatsApp group. Okay, so this is just a quick run through what we have done in the last class. Yeah, we have just had learned what are the basic building blocks of program, and what are the different types of errors. We had come across syntax error and logical error. This is one which is new, a semantic error, which is a perceptual error. Though you are correct in syntax and logic, you might not get an expected result. So what you intended for, you call it a semantic error. Values and types, variables can be of any length. It should not start with the numbers, and it can have any value, and some rules and regulations to be followed to declare the variable. Some of the keywords which has been used already, some of them has been used, and statement, if you try to combine or generate code using some operators or strings or values or variables, you call it as statements. Expressions, if you use operators, operands, and create some values, and if you create some statements, you call it as an expressions. So expression is a combination of values, variables, and operators. And yeah, this is what we learned yesterday, PMDAS. So what happens if you have multiple operators at a time, and what is the order of execution in Python? That is parenthesis, exponential, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. If you have same precedence, it will be evaluated from left to right. And the modulus operator, yeah, we have done this also. Yeah, it will be used to detect odd or even numbers. Yeah, this is where we need to start today. String operations, you can see the plus operator being used to addition of two values, which has been assigned to variable first and second, for example here. But also this operator works with strings by concatenating two different strings. You can see here in the second example, I have a string, say this 100 within the single quote is nothing but a string. Anything within inside the single quote is a string. String is nothing but a unique set of characters, okay? Set of alphabets or alphanumeric values also. Here I have taken 100 as a string and I have assigned it to first, and I have 150 as another string and assigned it to a variable second. Now if I say first plus second, if I use this plus operator, it simply concatenates two string, okay? 100, 150. So likewise, so far whatever we have seen, we are trying to assign a value to the variable, right? Isn't it? So we are trying to assign a value called 10 to x and 15 to y, so on. What if you prompt user, or what if you ask user to give some input, okay? Instead of getting the input from the keyword, instead of getting the input by the user directly to the variable, assigning a value to the variable, can you ask user to give an input to the keyboard, right? So we have a built-in function called input. So this input prompts user to give any value or any input from the keyword, okay? Likewise, this input, we have different functions wherein we can fetch the value from the different server, from different sensors and other entities, okay? So here you can see if I use in INP is equal to input, it prompts user to give an input, and if the user has given some input, so that will be assigned to the variable which is here at the left hand side. Can you see this? Towards LHS, you have the variable and you use the function called input. Likewise, before getting the input from the user, you can also instruct user what kind of input or what is that you are trying to input, or what is that you are trying to give a suggestion to the user to input. Okay, say for example, let me just switch to the other slide. Let me just so that we can just try to execute and just see like what happens. If you guys have Jupyter Notebook, you can parallelly you can listen to my voice and you just keep executing the commands. See, these are very basic commands. Okay, so okay, fine. Is the Jupyter Notebook visible? My class.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Just say yes once it's visible. What is appearing on your screen?
Asking for the user input slide.
Oh, still same slide. Okay, fine. Okay, now. Okay, now.
No, sir.
Still you have the same slide?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, let me. Okay, now.
Yes, sir.
So is the Jupyter Notebook visible? I hope it's visible. Okay, fine. Okay. So I was trying to say, if user is prompting, say for example, if I use a variable called inp is equal to input now and print inp. Okay, print inp. So at the first level, at the first iteration, this command will get executed wherein the user is asking the input, right? So the program will ask the input from the user. This is how the window is available, but it is not. So there is no instruction from the user what kind of input has to be given. So now I give something says hi everyone. So now this is a string, right? So this would be a string for input. You can see this after giving an input. So this string is assigned to INP. You can see you can also say print type of INP. So that is also possible. Like it will say it is a string. So whatever I type, if I type say hi, it would be a class string. Okay. So it takes any input value. It takes any input value. It may be a floating point, it may be an integer, or it may be a string. Suppose if I type 2, yeah, it takes yeah, here you have to observe one more thing. Whatever input that has been given to this is taken as a string, correct? Though it is a value. So you have to convert these strings. You have to convert these data types. So that will be dealt in the next coming slide. That will take in the next slide. Suppose if you want to prompt user, say what is your name? That means you're asking user, you're giving some hint to the user what input should be given. What is your name? Okay. So instead of giving type here, let me just remove it. Okay. So now you say, so what is your name? So with this particular statement, the user has been prompted and been given some direction. Okay. Whatever string that you put here inside the input will be the instruction or the direction to the user. Correct? So before getting input from the user, it's always a good idea to print a prompt telling the user what to input. You can pass a string, you can do like this and say my name is okay. So now You could see, okay, fine. If you want some space here, you could say colon and then say space. So always when it is printed, so you could see like the input is given after some space. Suppose I don't want to carry this string inside the input function. So you can declare the string outside. Correct? You can declare that input string. So what should be the INPSTR is equal to, okay, and then you can say here as INPSTR. Correct? So both are same. You just declare the input string outside and then pass an input argument with that variable name. Both are same. Okay. Yeah. So these things are quite interesting when if you are trying to prompt user, like say give user ID, give password, enter the captcha code. Yeah. Slide is not visible.
No, sir.
For how many the Jupyter notebook is not visible? Then can you just raise your hands here? Okay, so there are a lot of issues here with Teams today. Oh, okay. What is the problem? Is it visible now?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
Even recording is not happening. There are a lot of issues today in Microsoft Teams.
Sir, recording is on progress, sir.
Okay.
Now it is visible, sir.
Is it visible now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Yeah. See, I was just trying to explain. If you can take this thing inside here, okay. So this is what I discussed. Okay. So now I'm just trying to prompt user to say what is your name, and the user will simply give an input saying my name is so and so, or just say the name. Okay. And suppose if I don't want to use this string inside the input string, this string might change sometimes based on some conditions. So what I do, I would put it outside. Okay, I would put it outside. I call it as a variable INPSTR, and I use this INPSTR, okay, here. As simple as that. This is nothing but a string. So I pass an input argument to an input function as INPSTR. What is INPSTR? INPSTR is a string called what is your name. This also does the same thing. Functions are same. Okay. Right. So I hope no confusion here. So now sometimes the prompt, the sequence at the end of the prompt represents a new line. You can always use /n in the prompt. Say if I try to use /n here, it will prompt user to type view the input in the next line. Okay, so this /n can also be included. See here, it's very interesting. I can use the command, I can use /n here and pass it as an input argument here, and it will perform the operation where the user will be typing his or giving his input in the next line. Okay. Yeah. So let us go to the next example. So most of the times I use the variables which are memory aid or memory assisted. Say for example, if I am trying to look for world in so many words, or if I have a text document and there are so many words, okay, and if I'm trying to look for a particular word in so many words or a text document, so I will use a variable called word which I'm looking for, okay, and in words, okay, some sort of mnemonic, okay. So we choose mnemonic variables just in order to make us remember or help us remember why we have created this variable in the first place, and then try to use it. So let's say, for example, slice in pizza. For slice in pizza, how many slices are there? Correct. So likewise, I usually use some mnemonic, like which sounds good and which gives some meaning for me to use that variable. So next, we shall study about conditional executions. Okay. So I'll put it in comments. Conditional. What do you mean by conditional execution? Can anybody say what is conditional execution? Meanwhile, just interrupt me if the screen is not visible or if it goes off, if something goes wrong. Okay. So what do you mean by conditional execution? Yeah, these are some basic questions. What is conditional execution?
Executes when a condition is satisfied.
Okay. You need to pre-check some terms, some conditions, like if it is true or if it is false, something like that. Then you give permission. Okay, fine. You execute these particular statements. What are you going to use for a conditional executions? What operator are helpful, or what type of values are helpful in this situation? So we use Boolean expressions. Okay, we use what kind of expressions? We use Boolean expressions in order to execute Boolean expressions like true or false. Just a binary value. Okay, just a binary value. If the condition is satisfied, if it is true, it will perform some operations, or it will try to execute some statements which falls under true. If it is false, again some statement or expressions might be executed if it is false. Here, say for example, I use equal to operator, right? So equal to is an assignment operator. Remember, equal to is what? Can anybody tell? Equal to is a logical operator, or it's a Boolean operator. Say for example, x is equal to 5, okay, and y is equal to 5. If I use is x equal to 5, and then try to run this program, it would say true, correct? So now if I try to vary some value of x or y, it's a false. So I will use this equal to operator along with equal to operator. Now we can also see what is the type of this function, or what is the type of this value true. So type of true is Boolean, correct? BOOL. So this is another type of data, which is a Boolean type, true or false. So now I have a couple of more Boolean expressions like x not equal to y. So here itself, I shall take another example.
Sir,
Okay. Yeah.
your screen is
Yes.
your Jupyter notebook screen is stuck in the 7th line only.
So it is seventh line. Like I don't have seventh line here.
The input
So
in 7 is there, no, that one.
okay.
Where you've written input, where what is your name? Input is equal to input. Print
Okay.
that one.
Slash n is visible.
No, sir.
No. How about others?
Yes, sir. It is the same for us, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just try to share the entire screen. Okay. What has been shared? Can you say? Can you see now? What is visible?
Sir, it's not visible, sir. Your screen is not shared.
me 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes, dear. Guys, can you just yeah, one sec. Can you see the link which has been given in the chat box? Can you just see the link given in the chat box?
No, sir.
Oh, huh?
Now the link is visible. The Google Meet.
Can you just can you just click the link fast and exit from this Teams? Let me just verify with the Google Meet whether it's the same with here there also.
Done, sir.